Habari ya jioni Wakenya wenzangu, habari ya jioni ndugu yangu Miguda.
Niko salama jioni sana. Na wewe uko aje?
Mimi niko salama sana.
Ah,
Labda tu kama kuna kitu ama jambo ambalo wewe umeona popote uliko, labda unaweza tuambia pia wale wanaotutazama pia wasikie wajue ni nini kiliendelea pale ulikuwepo.
leo sijaona lolote pale nilipo,
Mm,
ingawa niko tu nilikuwa natarajia watu wangeenda kuandamana, lakini naona ya kwamba ni kama Raila Odinga ile ushindi ako nayo ama ile maarifa ako nayo
mm,
ile imesha meza ile maarifa ya Gen Z. Sasa leo kila mtandao tu Raila Odinga, Raila Odinga,
eh.
AU. Sasa hiyo maandamano ya leo ni kama haijafanyika. Raila amechukua leo.
Unajua ukiangalia katika kumbukumbu na historia ya hii nchi, kuna baadhi ya vitu ambazo tunaweza kuwa tunasema, lakini kusema tu ukweli, ile ushawishi ambayo Raila ako nayo si ushawishi ya mchezo. Unaona, ni jambo ambalo itachukua takriban miaka mingi mtu kukuwa na hiyo ushawishi katika um, siasa tu ya Kenya, kwa sababu ni mtu ambaye huwezi pigana na yeye kisiasa, kwa sababu hata ukiangalia katika maisha yake ya siasa, akiwa ile enzi za Moi, aliingia KANU ikaporomoka na Kibaki, na unaona siasa yake ni hali ya juu. Nadhani kizazi kipya cha Gen Z kitataka ujuzi sana. Inafaa hata wamwalike siku moja, wakuwe na yeye na story tu, kueleza jinsi ya siasa, kwa sababu ni mtu, ushauri wake ni sio ya kipimo. Huwezi ipima na ujue hii inatoshana aje. Hiyo tu ni maoni yangu, labda ama wewe uko na maoni tofauti?
Sina maoni tofauti. Naona tu ile ubabe ako nayo katika siasa
Eh,
ya Kenya ni
mhm,
ile ambaye hakuna mtu kwa saa hii tunaweza linganisha na baba. Juu
eh,
yeye yani zile historia kulingana na yale ameyafanya katika taifa hii, kulingana na
mm,
siasa zake za upinzani na siasa
mm,
zake kama katika serikali, hakuna
mm,
mtu yeyote. Hata sasa hivi nafikiria hayati babake Jaramogi Oginga Odinga akifariki na kuja aone vile mtoto wake amezungusha nchi,
mm.
anashangaa sana. Kumbe huyu jamaa yeye ni mwanasiasa hodari sana.
Unajua, watu wanasema, uh, kwanza, hayati Jaramogi Oginga Odinga alikuwa mtu wa diplomasia sana. Ni mtu ambaye alikuwa ni mtu msikivu sana, na vitu zake zilikuwa ni vitu za utaratibu, ukilinganisha na mtoto wake Raila Odinga. Ni watu tofauti sana katika nyanja za siasa, kwa sababu yeye ni mtu ambaye ni mtu ambaye alikuwa anaweza sikiza, mtu ambaye alikuwa amependa diplomasia. Utaratibu wake wa siasa ilikuwa ni tofauti sana na Raila, na hiyo nakubaliana na wewe, kama angeweza rudi duniani aone ushawishi ambao mtoto wake ako nayo katika siasa, itamshangaza, lakini hiyo iko. So, leo kuna matukio tu mengi tu zimetokea, na tutajadili. First of all, the courts have suspended temporarily the strike that was going on. You remember the KUPPET were on strike, and the court made a ruling today, so it is suspended temporarily. So which means the high school students, by tomorrow they should start going to school, because the teachers will be back in class. That is a good news, and at the same time a sad news for the teachers who are fighting for their well-being, and it's a good news for the students, because they're going to be in the class, and they will have to study, due to the fact that some of them are preparing to do their exams. That is one. Another also is his Kalonzo Musyoka has declared himself as opposition leader. That is we're just giving up the briefs, but I think we will take time to discuss about it, and that is what is there. By the way, yesterday I did not mention to you about the viral video that went of Swale, the former communication officer or director for Mudavadi. He was a journalist at NTV, but he later resigned and went to work with His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi. In the long run, there was scandal that he found himself in, and yesterday he recorded a video asking for forgiveness. So hiyo ni maisha. So hizo ndio vitu ambazo labda naweza sema, labda kama kuna kitu mpya ambao sijazungumzia, ambao labda uko nayo unataka kutuambia pia sisi tusikie.
Kitu mpya, kuna ajali ilifanyika katika hapa jiji ya Nairobi. Sijui kama
Ile
uliona ile gari kubwa ya
Range
Range
Rover.
Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mazee jo, maisha ndio nakuambia. One thing that I usually say
yeah.
that sometimes when you're driving, be very careful. Be very, very careful, because um, I'm told, like, when you're on the road, make sure that you, the person who is driving, be the best driver. Make sure that you know your surrounding, and overspeeding also not good. So it's protect your life and adhering to road rules or traffic rules, if I may say. So is also very important. So, and I'm very sorry for those who lost their lives in that tragic accident, but it's also an opportunity for those who are blessed to have cars or have blessed to be driving to be very mindful and be aware of their surrounding, and also to obey the traffic rules. It works. So that is something is there. So I think that one is also there. So today was a very good day in the country, and I would call it historic in the country. One, the campaign for the Right Honorable Prime Minister was being launched by His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto. Two, we were also celebrating Katiba at 14. Yeah, 14 years ever since we got the 2010 Constitution. We will look at a little bit of what happened today at the launching of the bid for chairmanship for the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and also look at 14 years of the Katiba we have. What have we achieved? What have we not? And what is the way forward for us as a country or as a citizen of this beloved country, Kenya? So before we go, Mr. Miguda, let me just play for you a clip here that so we can we can see what's happening.
Odinga's bid for the African Union Commission chair seat in an event held in State House, Nairobi. The launch marks the start of Raila's official campaigns ahead of the February 2025 elections to replace outgoing chair Musa Faki Mahamat. The president also unveiled a team to lead the secretariat that comprises of Foreign Affairs PS Korir Sing'oei and Ambassador Elkanah Odemba. Heads of state who graced the event include South Sudan President Salva Kiir, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu, and Uganda's Yoweri Museveni.
Africa must aim at greater self-reliance and a more pronounced role in global governance. For this to happen, reliable and predictable resources to implement the African Union goals of sustainable development and deeper integration are necessary. To this end, I want to promise Kenya is firmly committed to upholding the Kigali decision.
As such, we firmly believe that he has what it takes to transform the vision of the Assembly into tangible outcomes for our people. Excellencies, with Right Honorable Raila Odinga, we envision an African Union that is ever strong, that is championing Africa's socio-economic development, and that ensures Africa's voice takes center stage.
What you call history, I call current affairs, because I was there. So Then Pan-Africanism. Mzee Odinga, Joe Murumbi, even Tom Mboya, they all supported Pan-Africanism. There is somebody who did not support it, whom I will not mention. One person.
Ladies and gentlemen, my selection to be Kenya's candidate is not about one man's ambition, but an African's journey to serve the motherland. Indeed, I plan to constitute my cabinet of chairpersons with a continental outlook. I'm grateful that friends and eminent persons across Africa have volunteered to engage in my campaigns from the West, North, South, Central, and of course, Eastern Africa.
Okay, Miguda, that was a little brief of what took place in the State House today, and you've heard the speeches from all the leaders. But before I comment, I will give you a time. I just only want to comment about one thing. One thing that stood out, and this is, if at all, that there was a competition where those who have good speaking skills, or those who have public speaking skills, or those are very good orator, I would give it to President William Ruto. When it comes to public speaking, that is something that you cannot take away from him. He's perfected on that. I don't know whether that is your observation. Maybe you can give me your observation on what happened. We will look at few things.
I think President Ruto, his oratory skills,
Yeah.
currently, there's no leader who can match him at his level in terms of the people who are present today in that launch. He was the best, and he has perfected it even across Africa when it comes to oratory skills. So that one we can give him what he deserves. And you can even view his opinion by the time he was given mic to execute his speech. He's clear on the Pan-Africanist, and the way he tried to bring the Pan-Africanist, he tried to bring it into the contemporary world, the way it affect the current world, the current Africa. And you have even see he has outsmart Museveni to an extent that Museveni has echo what Mr. Ruto said, but Museveni now has used the historical perspective. The people who supported it before and the people who did not support it before. So you can see the way William Ruto, when it comes to oratory, is very skillful. And Suluhu Hassan, also we must give Suluhu Hassan credit because she has also introduced something very new in that launch. She introduced the issue of representation in the African Union and the representatives of the people. You know, in African Union, the people who represent the people are the presidents, head of states in the Africa. So she was trying to talk about how the representation can be transformed in a manner that it can also achieve the gender rule, whereby we can have more women as president of Africa. So when it comes to representations, we don't have where the male dominate the female in the African representation in that assembly. So the Suluhu has brought a very new reform into that speech, so that when Raila is going to be propelled to be the AUC, so he can take that one into consideration. And Mr. Odinga also tried to talk about, he brought the issue of people-centered thing. So he want the issue of inclusivity to an extent that in his cabinet, if at all is going to be the AUC chairperson, is going to bring the inclusive of all the continental face into that cabinet. So I think it was a well-balanced occasion for what we have watched from this media. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And another thing that I might also say that I did see, I saw a spirited campaign, especially from the head of state, that those who came, and that one affirms to you that they are going to do or campaign for the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And to us as a Kenyan, we just wish him well in what he's going to do. And then the challenge that is coming to him, that Africa faces so many challenges. It is not all an issue about representation. There's so many challenges that are facing Africa ever since. And if you look at even those who have hold those seats or those positions, what have they done in Africa? Because look at even the youngest country of Africa, like Sudan. Sudan went through a lot. What was done? South Sudan. I mean, South Sudan is the youngest in Africa. They're still, and also come to places like Libya. So what new is the Right Honorable Prime Minister is going to bring so that we can see a new Libya, a Libya where fellow African brothers and sisters are living free, where they do not have this ideology or this issue where they are in the boat crossing over, some of them dying in the water. So, and what are you going to do about our minerals? So there's so many challenges that comes with it. But despite all those, with us, we just wish him well. Maybe if you have something to say.
On I can say Africa can face a lot of challenges, and now Mr. Odinga is going to have an uphill task if given opportunity that is going to be elected to the AUC chairperson,
Yeah.
because the current or the former AUC chair people, we haven't seen some of them addressing even the current problem facing Africa, the problem of neocolonization.
Yeah.
Currently we are facing neocolonization, and it has never been addressed. So
Yes.
Odinga is also going to face a lot of challenges. We want to see him fixing countries like Somali. Somali is a failed state. Somali is in Africa. Somali is our neighboring country. We want to see him fixing the war in Congo, whereby Africans are killing themselves, Africans versus Africans, because the war in Congo, it is Africans who are fighting against amongst themselves. So we want to see him if he can bring reforms so that we don't have a continent whereby it is a playground for war. We don't have a continent whereby we have the terrorists like the Al Shabaab. We
Mhm.
don't. We have the terrorists at the seas in Africa, most of the Indian Ocean.
Mhm.
So, other than fixing the political aspect of the African people, Odinga must just carry the collective responsibility to fix economic in Africa, and also to fix even the social setup of the African people, and also the African custom. We even have the African customs or the African customary law,
Yeah.
because at most of the African continent or most of the African countries, they are using the laws which they borrowed from their colonial masters.
Yeah.
Even we, the people of Kenya, most of our laws, some are common laws, the laws which were used in England by the queens, in the Queen's Bench or in the Lord's courts. You see, even in the French colonies in Africa, they are using the civil Roman civil law. Why
Mhm.
can't we have our laws as Africans? Because even Africans before these colonial masters, we have kingdoms. There were African kingdoms. There were
Yes.
African customs. So Raila must ensure that he also fix the customs of Africans when given that opportunity. So going forward, Prime Minister Raila Odinga has a lot of task to. That's why I begin by saying it is an uphill task for him to make sure that he brought back Africa to the trajectory whereby our forefathers wanted it to be.
Well, thank you so much. You've talked of African kingdoms. I don't know, but I know is in Africa that I'm very sure of is Buganda Kingdom. I think is the only kingdom that still exists. I don't know whether Asante Kotoko Kingdom in Ghana is still existing. But
Even the Swati kingdom the Swati kingdom,
yeah, the
King
Swati
Swati.
Kingdom, King Swati. Yeah, actually
Yeah,
is that is one. And if you look at the King Swati is the only country that does not have what we call the what do I just forgotten. I know the word. Is it the democracy? They're the only country that does not use the constitutional democracy.
they don't use the constitutional democracy. Yeah,
Yeah, they don't use democratic constitutional democracy, but it is the old system of kingship. And Buganda Kingdom too. I think there's a way in which the Uganda government have given them their space on how they also have influence. They not interfere with their ruling system, you know. But majority of some African countries, especially like you talk of customary law, some of them have lost the kingdomship identity. And another thing that also I might say, if Baba wins, and it will also be a very good for Kenya in terms of outlook. It can also put Kenya in the maps, even though Kenya is one of those countries that's is strategically placed in the world. And you see, like most of the countries or the European nations or the Western countries are so much interested in Kenya. But with also, if Baba can win, that can be a plus for the country. So he comes with a lot of things, and there's also this issue of corruption. You know, as much as we might talk of the challenges that are facing Africa, including the boundary issues, some of the leaders are the major cause of what Africans are going through, because you will find that some of these leaders are ripping off from the minerals that Africa have and putting them in the offshores account. Somebody, Tile John, say the kingdom system is not good because they are hereditary. Yeah, they are not good, but they're customary. This is how, if you look at the history of Africa. Yeah, we are coming. When you look at the history of Africa, um,
Maybe I come in to respond to our viewer. We were
yes,
not saying that we are supporting the kingdom's existence, but we were saying that the African customs which were forgotten,
yeah,
because it's like Africans were misrepresented during the formation of these legal systems.
yeah,
Because why do you say that we have English common law and African, and we have the Roman civil law? Where are the Africans' laws? That's the question we are asking. So it means Africans were misrepresented, and we have cited Ghana. You know, in Ghana, if
yeah.
you look at their constitution, they have recognized the traditional kingdom of the Ashanti people. So it means the Ghana did not forget their tradition, but doesn't mean that Ghanaian people don't elect president or they don't have the constitutional democracy. They have, yes, but they have recognized that traditional existence of that kingdom. To date, in our neighboring country, Uganda, they have also incorporated the Buganda kingdom into their acts, in their legal system. So we were trying, just, if given opportunity for Odinga to rule, he can incorporate or he can recognize these African customs, because they are very important. As Africans, we do not need to forget our customs, and we recognize the customs, the foreign customs. The foreign custom from Rome and the current foreign custom from United Kingdom, the Great Britain, are the one which we are using. And you know, even if you look at our disputes, let me come back to Kenya. Our disputes, most of the disputes are not being resolved in courts. In fact, courts just handle maybe 10% of the disputes. Majority of the disputes are being handled by the local leaders, like the chiefs, like the assistant chief, like the pastors, like the elders, like the family members. The people who goes to court are very few, but the most of the disputes are being handled at the local level. So they try to use those customs to sort out those dispute. It's the alternative justice system. So alternatively, we do not need to ignore our customs. So going forward for Raila Odinga, let him bring back, let him not, let us not forget our customs and recognize the foreign customs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And today we are very lucky that Gibson Connor, thank you so much for coming in. It has been a while. I've not been seeing you around for almost a week. If you're doing well, that's okay. Otile Jones, thank you so much and welcome to the show. Makobura, habari gani?
Kwa salama nashukuru. How are you?
Niko mzuri. Na uko pande gani ya Kenya? Utuarifu ama utupashe habari.
I'm still within the CBD.
Yes.
There's too much traffic, so I'm unable to get home.
Okay, thank you so much. We are just talking about the launch that took place today by the president on Raila Odinga's bid, and we are just trying to talk about the benefits of what awaits him. So maybe if you can weigh your thoughts.
I think there are so many benefits that you would get, and you would get also as a country. Remember, being the African Union is like a president of the continent of Africa. So, of course, he has so many things to bring for us as a country. He has a high upper hand negotiating so many deals on behalf of the country. He also has influence to bring investors in the continent of Africa and also even in Kenya. So of course there are so many good benefits that that we get as a country. That is, if he succeeds, uh, and also as a continent. Remember, Raila Amolo Odinga has been one of the people fighting for the rights of the people and democracy in the continent of Africa. So, him being in that higher position, I think he would have the opportunity to influence all these African countries to embrace a government that listens to the people and to also empower democracy in their specific countries.
Mhm.
So, I think he's a good candidate for that position, for that post, and we wish him all the best. And from where I sit, I think if he gets that position, he would really do positive things for us as a people and the continent of Africa.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And some of the challenges that the continent of Africa has been facing, they are there since time immemorial. They did not start today. And this is about the conflicts that are happening in majority of African countries. Especially, we just mentioned Congo, where it has always been at war with itself for the longest time. And with Raila coming in, will we see a change in the way Congo will be? Because so many AU chair have been in that seat, but like we've never seen some changes. It has always been at war.
Okay, maybe to say something about Congo, actually, not just Congo, even Somalia.
Yeah,
And being that these two countries were just they were just welcomed in the East African community,
yeah.
and Raila understands where the problem is, actually where the problem started in those countries,
Mhm,
and being that he's coming from East Africa again,
mhm,
I believe that he understands and he interacts more often with the president of Congo and also the president of Somalia. Not just that, but I think him coming from East Africa, he has a genesis of the problems that have been affecting the East African countries. So I think he has what it takes when it comes to ensuring that the conflicts that we've been seeing in East African countries like the Congo, Somalia, are going to be sorted. And I also believe that with the interaction that he has had with the heads of state, remember, even before he went for this position, he has tried going for presidency. As much as he has failed to get the position, he has interacted more often with these leaders. And you know that most of presidents in East Africa, they've been there for quite some time. And so I'm sure they have shared so much. If he interacts with the president of Uganda might have told him what the problem is along his border with the Congo. If he interacts with the president of Rwanda, I'm sure he knows where Rwanda and Uganda are having conflict. If he interacts with the president of Congo, he also
mhm.
gets the same information. So I believe him interacting with these different leaders is going to have a good time. Uh, is going to have a good way of trying to bring them together to solve the securities and all the things that we've been seeing within the specified countries.
Okay, thank you so much. Gibson, thank you so much. And we pray for quick recovery for the relative, and um, tunamuombea mema apate kuponya. Let's I know the AU is a story that we will keep on talking as Baba will be campaigning, and the secretariat also was he has his secretariat. But today let's shift gears a little bit and come to talk about the 2010 constitution, which we were given. Now we have 14 years ever since. When you reflect back, even before the 2010 constitution, what would you say, Miguda, about the 2010?
What I will say about the 2010,
Yeah, the
before
benefits.
the repeal of the previous constitution,
Yes,
constitution,
yes,
before the repeal constitution, I began following politics in 2007. In
yeah,
2007, we were having the repeal constitution. There are a lot of things we have seen. There are a lot of changes we have seen as a country with this 2010 constitution. Previously, in 2007 elections, you find that when Raila was crying that his vote was stolen from him,
yeah,
there was no clear procedure of moving to court to hear and determine petition related to the presidential election. But with the introduction of 20 constitution, you can see that when you feel that you have not won that election, there's a clear provisions in the constitution, and it's exclusively for the Supreme Court to hear and determine petition related to the crisis of the presidential election.
mm-hmm,
So there's a benefit because in 2017, the Supreme Court, with its own wisdom, nullified Ouru's victory, and we went for a re-election. There was the elections were called, the fresh elections were called out. So that's a progressive we have seen as a country. Now we do not need to. When you feel that you have not won election, you don't need to go to kill your brother. You don't need to go for violence. There's a procedure of how you can resolve your grievances through the procedures in the court and the timelines that has been provided in the constitution. There are a lot of things I can find out because even the term limit, Ouru has served for 10 years. At least he has given an opportunity for another person so that who also think that he has the capacity, who can showcase his skills to serve the country.
yeah,
Other than that one, I'll just like to put my argument on devolution
yeah,
because there are many things I can't talk about them for now. The rest you can discuss. But let me just focus on the devolution. Devolution, before the 20th constitution, power was consolidated at the national. Power was absolute. And Moi enjoyed this power for 24 years. And if you want to know how this power was absolute, you can see the way Moi ruled this country. The power which was absolute corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. So it corrupts Moi. And Moi misused that power. So Moi was everything. But I'm very glad that when he went to Bomas, this power was dispersed. This power was diffused. This power was devolved into counties. Now we have the 47 counties, which are the sovereign counties. They are independent. They make their own decision. They make their own budget. They work independently. And when this power from the national was diffused to the county level, it means some powers were taken from the presidency to regional levels. They were taken further from county level to sub-counties to ward level. So it was diffused from the national up to the ward level. We even have the members of county assemblies. Even the parliament itself was devolved from national assembly to county assembly. The good news with this devolving power to these levels is that there's no one person who thinks that is the one who owns that power. There's no absolute power. So this power was diffused and it was devolved. And with that, we can see transformation. There are
yeah,
some things we have seen, even in terms of employment. Remember, can you ask yourself, all these 47 counties who have employees, if these employees were not employed by these counties, where could be they right now? Where could be these employees? So it means there are some of the benefits you can see, but I pledge my argument on the devolution.
Okay, thank you very much, and we agree with you about the devolution, and but there are so many benefits that have come with it. But in the devolution, also we are seeing a situation whereby the proper implementation of devolution has not worked. Because sometimes I told you the other day, you go to some of the hospitals, you will be surprised on what is happening. So another thing that also, even though it has brought us the devolution, but also you see on how the corruption has also gone down with the devolution. So the proper implementation has not taken place. Another thing that I also would want to say that we can also celebrate is about the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press, because like we've come in a country where you can criticize, you have that freedom to criticize. And remember, take for example, if we did not have this constitution, do you think the Right Honorable Prime Minister could have gone to the Uhuru Park and swear him himself as the people's president? That could not happen during the Moi time, my friend. You could have find yourself there. So it has come with so many things, but like even though we've not actualized the real the actualization of the Katiba, but there are some of the freedoms that we really, really, really enjoy much. I don't know what Makobura you would want to say about the Katiba at 14.
Maybe my point on the constitution that was promulgated in 2010.
Mm.
I think as a country, it has really, we've seen so many benefits in it. But again, maybe if we try compare it with what was there before,
Mm-hmm.
we've seen more benefits because we are now in a position where the rights of people are protected, the rights of people are respected, there's freedom of expression, there's like the bills of right, there's some extent to which it is respected and uh, it is respected and it is also acknowledged. So that's a good step that we've taken because that is the most important thing in this constitution. But again, issue to do with leadership,
Yeah.
I think we've done well because we've come up with the representative that ensures that the ground is listened to and they are close to the people because we've simply diffused power. So
Okay.
with this diffusion of power, there is a good point at which people are now able to get leadership. They are able to interact with their leaders on the ground.
Yeah.
But the problem, of course, there are so many problems that is also we've seen in this constitution that we would like that if suppose I was the president, I would also propose that they be changed. There's some negativity and there's so many things part of it that we've also not actualized. I think because of the leadership that we've had leadership that do not really follow it to the latter. They actually I mean, sometimes they use this constitution as a shield to them. They interpret it differently, and these are the kind of things that we need to do to recheck into, so that we have a good clarification of on where to step and where not to step. But so far so good. I think it's a good one, and Kenya I think is one of the best country in Africa where democracy is observed, where people would come out to the street and remind the president that is incompetent, really sends home all his cabinet. But it's also funny that this constitution, as much as it guides and protects us this much, the president still has power to re-engineer and bring back thieves who had been sent home by the young people. So these are the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It comes with negativity bit of it, but again, the positivity are so many. It's only that we've not actualized the most important thing that really affects the people.
Okay. May I take the following time to let me take this chance to thank the following. We have Oragi Papa. Thank you so much. Papa is saying Baba is equal and fit for the task. He can help in the stabilization of other countries like Congo. Thank you so much for your view. Gitonga, thank you so much. Tuko Salama. Judith, thank you so much, and we really appreciate. Makubura, you talk about uh, um, that sometimes, like about the ministers or the CSS that were brought back. I think that is not that is the implementation, because I think the problem that we have with this our constitution, even though we are doing good, it has positivities in it. But where we usually fail, I think, is in the implementation process. Miguda, what can you say?
Mm, yeah, we have said in this channel time without number that we need a leader who can implement the Constitution of Kenya 2010. But today I would like to shift the paradigm and bring out some amendments. Like me, when when you go back to Bomas, if we can go back to Bomas again the way they have been saying,
Yeah.
or when we will sit as a country to discuss, or a national conversation we discuss about this constitution, I can bring in some amendments, some proposal amendments. I can propose amendment of the chapter 7, representation of the people,
Yeah.
that during elections, because we have been having problems with our electoral system, the elections should be simple. And to me, that elections should be final at polling station. Once I walk in the polling station, I cast out my vote, and the presiding officer in that center declare that, or the returning officer declare that result. It should remain at that polling station. It should not be declared in National Tallying Center, Nairobi, or constituency. So that amendment I can propose. I'll also propose amendment of chapter 12 about the public finance.
Yes.
The way we can manage our public debts, the way we can manage our finance bills, because we have every year we must have a finance bill as a country. These finance bills, how are we going to tax our people? How are we going to post levy to our people? Or how are we going to introduce our budget into the National Assembly? So those proposals I can introduce. And I can also introduce proposal of amending chapter 15 about commissions and independent offices. Because, for instance, why do we have two commissions with the similar activities? For instance, Revenue Allocation Commission and Salary and Remuneration Commission. They should be merged and made one commission. And the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission, IBC. Why do you have officials of IBC in office? And for instance, now, since we left elections in 2022, there haven't been any election in this country. What are they doing in that office? I will propose that the commission should serve part-time during elections, during by-elections, and during the registration of the members. Once we don't have those activities, they should not be in those offices, so that we are spending public money paying for them. And lastly, I will propose the reform in the police. It should be National Police Service as it is in the Constitution. It should not be National Police Force. It should be service to raia, utumishi kwa wote. So those proposals, we can bring them out as a country, and we need a leader with a goodwill to implement these constitutions, and we are good to go as a country. That's just an opinion from an individual perspective.
Okay, thank you very much. And maybe
It is so funny that today my colleague, my senior, speaking about looking into the constitution. That has really surprises me. I think that's a good move. That truly we are accepting the fact that there's bit that needs to be changed. There's bit that is not clear in that constitution. And that is, remember the last time we were talking about the constitution, we had a long conversation about it.
yeah.
And these are the things that I was actually proposing, the same ones that my brother Meguda today is proposing.
Yeah.
It is so unfortunate that day, I don't know why you are not really understanding what I was proposing. But it is true that the people of Kenya are really paying too much tax. And most of this tax is going to very nonsensical dockets dockets which are not really functioning, dockets that can be merged and one person should lead, dockets like women reps which are not really helping the people, dockets like Senate and I mean Parliament, which does not really even know their function. They spend too much time conflicting who is superior and who is not superior. So such kind of things, I think, those are the things that we should look into when this proposal of amending the constitution comes up. But I believe it is right time because even the drafters of the constitution, they were very clear. Even the people of Kenya were very clear that let's pass whatever is here, but of course, along the way, when we walk the journey, then we find that there is part that is not really fitting with us. We shall be looking to that. So the constitution of Kenya is a good one, but part of it should be relooked so that it aligns to the needs and the requirement and the circumstances and the facts that are here in Kenya.
Okay. Thank you so much. But now, when we want to look at it entirety, like the time it was promulgated to today, in terms of service delivery, has it really worked or it has not? And what has made it not to work? For instance, things like education, those are basic needs that the government should always provide. But you find we are having a problem with that. Things like health, health sector is not doing good either. So where is the problem? Is the problem with the document or the problem is with the leadership?
We have said, we have said, we have said time without number that we need a good leader with goodwill to assist Kenyans to implement this constitution. Because there's every provisions in the constitution. For instance, even the teachers, there's that Teacher Service Commission. TSC was made independent. TSC was never devolved. TSC is at the national level. So health was devolved. And in some counties, Brother Benson, health has done very good. They have been improved in some of the hospitals, some equipments in the hospitals, unlike other counties. So still, there are those good leaders in some counties who have ensured that health has been devolved and it has actualized. And unlike other counties whereby corruption, more so in Nairobi, there's massive corruption when it comes to health that there's no transformation in the health sector in Nairobi. So I can say that it also comes with consequences. There are those good leaders who have goodwill, who can implement at the county level, but there are those leaders who have failures through corruption. To respond to Makobura, then he can come in. Makobura, the other day we said that I was very clear that I will not support the amendment of the constitution for an individual. Let us not touch the constitution because of an individual. But when it's a collective for each and every person, we can look at it. And I said right now, not that I want it. I said, if at all Bomas is called again, or if at all Kenyans go for the conversation, I have some proposals. But I still maintain my stand that if we want to amend the constitution, or we want to go for referendum because of an individual, to introduce a position for an individual, that one I will not support.
Okay. Makobura.
Maybe to respond to him first before I give my points.
Yeah.
I don't think Migude is being truthful because the last time we were having a discussion, I was talking overall about the issue of changing the constitution. We really never talked about changing it for an individual. It was an overall talk. Yeah, so maybe my points to that, to what you've just asked is the reason why the constitution has not so far worked when it comes to work delivery. I think the reasons are very obvious. We've had greedy leaders, we've had leaders who are not listening to the people, we've had leaders who don't care about the people, we have leaders who are majoring on corrupt deals, we have leaders who are getting into parliament through bribing people, we have leaders who campaign giving false promises, but if they get to power, they don't actually empower people. Instead, they're doing the otherwise. that starts with the president. Since we got this constitution, we've had, let's say, start with the Uhuru. When Uhuru came to power, there are so many things that he changed. There are so many programs that he came up with. When William Samoei Ruto became the president, he is also trying to change the things that the former president changed. When he talked about, for example, NHIF, now William Ruto wants to change it to the NSG. I don't know, I won't say. I don't know. And they're using a lot of money to change this kind of thing. So that tells you that instead of focusing on issues which are affecting the people of Kenya, they're spending a lot of money trying to change a specific name of something that is not really going to change. Instead of looking at the problems that NHF are having and trying to engineer and come up with good proposal, they're spending billions to change the name from NHIF to I don't know she. So again, not just that. We've seen the former president who had something like Mama Linda or these things for women. Linda Mama, I don't know.
Linda Mama initiative.
Yes, you see this, the president here came and said that one was for the former one, now they have to come up with something else. So this competition, changing things, this greediness is what is affecting delivery of work and service to the people. And we've also seen such kind of things in the county governments. For example, in several county governments, a county governor comes up with a project, then maybe if he fails to get back to power, another governor comes with a different proposal. Like the competition of things, lack of understanding. The constitution we should realign it in a way that when we are doing some amendment, in a way that it compels the people who are coming to power to ensure that they first finish up with the projects that have started with the previous leaders, to ensure that we don't waste money. Because at this rate, the governor comes into office, starts a project, spends a lot of money, it stalls before they finish. Another one comes, says they can't go on with that, they start something else, it stalls. And if an audit is done, you find that all the amount of money that had been collected that was supposed to work on that specific project and is not actually there. So we get into a situation where there are debts here and there, and there is no any explanation of where money was even taken because of the greediness within the leaders that we elect, leaders who don't want to finish projects that started with former previous leaders. So if there is such kind of things are anchored in the constitution, compelling the people who are getting into leadership to finish up and to ensure that such kind of things do not come up. I think the issue of service delivery and respect of institution is seen.
Okay, thank you so much, Makobura. But because like I'm seeing our time is almost over, but Miguda, maybe if you can tackle about the citizenry, the uraia ama wananchi in the space of constitution. Do you feel like wananchi have seen the benefit of this constitution based on the people that they are electing?
Before I respond to the citizenship part of it,
Yeah.
it will be very unfair to end the show without talking about the supremacy of this constitution, how supreme it is.
Yes.
Because it's the constitution. You know, we have been talking in this channel about the people as sovereign, the people shall, but we haven't been discussed about this. Who is supreme? Because the people are sovereign, the people are powerful. Then I'll introduce you to Article 2.
Yeah.
Article 2 will talk about the supremacy of the constitution. And it's very interesting part of it because it said that this constitution is valid and its validity cannot be subject to any authority. So after people who are sovereign, the supreme thing is the constitution, or the supreme document is the constitution. It is supreme to an extent that its validity cannot be subject to any authority for validation. And also the Article 2.4, which if you look at my X space, I tweeted when I was responding to Mr. Ruto. He said that all laws, including customary laws, that are inconsistent with this constitution are null and void to the extent of inconsistency. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that in Kenya, even the acts of parliament, maybe for example, Adjudicator Act, it will still refer to the constitution that whenever there is an alternative justice solution whereby you are going to resolve your dispute outside of the court, and you want to apply your traditional or your customs ways. There are some customs whereby the punishment was by death, but those acts will tell you that you can only apply your customs if it does not conflict Article 24 or it does not contravene the Bill of Rights. Provided you don't interfere with any Bill of Rights or the supremacy of the document, you can go on with your acts. So it means even those people who are operating below the Constitution, those people who are using other acts or other laws, you cannot contravene the Constitution. So that's how the supreme the document is. That's why we said that there's no way Kindiki can tell us that there's a public order that when you are demonstrating, no, we are referring back to the document. He said that the Constitution supersedes all laws in the country. It is the supreme document of the land. So you can have the acts of parliament, you can have common laws, you can have African customary laws, but the Constitution is the supreme. So 14 days of promulgation of the Constitution 2010, we still enjoy the supremacy of the document that there is no way we can introduce any act in this country that contravene or contradict the Constitution. So that's how the supreme the document is. Talking about citizenship, I think citizenship is well discussed in the Constitution that once the provisions of becoming a citizen of the country by birth, registration, or naturalization. But let me just dwell on the by birth because majority of the people in Kenya were born here. They don't coexist through naturalization or registration. The people who make up the high population are those people who are born here. So there are some privileges that as a citizen of this country, I don't need to beg. I will enjoy them whether they like them or they don't like. Like I have a right to access many things as in it. But now your question was, do we people enjoy these rights as citizens? Do we benefit from this constitution? I can say we people are benefited, but not everyone or not that everybody must benefit. There are certain people who are benefited. There are those people who, like Mr. President, is a beneficiary of this constitution. He served as a deputy president, and also when he purport to the people that he won the elections, and this victory was at stake in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court protected him that he never lost his victory. So he has benefited. There are many people who are benefited. You have seen cases whereby if you want to impeach a governor, they will ask you, on which ground? There are grounds for provisions for impeachment of a governor. So you can't just walk out and impeach a governor because the constitution requires you. No, there are grounds and it's the Supreme. And also, the Supreme Court, or the courts generally, have played a major role in interpretation of our laws, because you can find members of parliament, sometimes they can make laws which are unlawful. Even the president can put assent to those laws. But the final say, if anyone can go to court and challenge that law, the court has powers to declare that law unconstitutional, null, and void. So you see, the interpretation part of it has made us to benefit as in that there is no laws there are no laws can be made in this country which are unlawful, because the Supreme Court, the High Court, Court of Appeal, they will interpret it. For instance, one example, during the proposal of the BBI, there were some provisions in the proposals and also the way it was initiated. They were arguing that does the country have the best, does Kenyan constitution have the basic structure, doctrine, or not? You see the way the High Court delivered its decision. When the case was appealed at the Court of Appeal, the Court of Appeal have similar decision. Now the Supreme Court gave us a very elaborate interpretation about it, and we ended up not having a referendum. So this constitution is supreme, and it protects the citizen to an extent that even the president or the AG or the Chief Justice cannot abuse our rights as we see. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Makubur, I don't know whether you'll be having show tonight, and maybe will you be, or you are not in a position to have the show tonight to continue with the discussion?
So far, I can't confirm because I don't think we have. I think from tomorrow we
Okay.
may start having.
Okay, so thank you so much. And for now, I think our time is up, and we want to thank everybody who was here. We read up their names: Benson Amondi, Gibson Connor. Thank you so much. Otile Jones. We have Gitonga, we have Papa, and everyone who is watching. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you are new here, kindly subscribe and share the video and be part of the family. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.